Okay, folks, this is a video that I made of a little bit of an unusual typesetting a little bit, but it's something that I need to address because I have a lot of people telling me, Jerry, it sounds crazy you saying that you are a descendant of the Merovingian kings, and but you also proclaim that you are of the tribe of Judah and of the house of King David. Well, people, it's not me saying that. It's people who are of a higher authoritative mind by far than me that are saying that. And not only that, it has a lot to do with DNA, ancestry DNA, guys. They took some of my blood and they told me that I had a high level of royal lineage in my blood, okay? So I've had ancestry DNA studies done on myself, my own blood, and it was free when I had it done too. That's how interested some people was in this, okay? So I'm going to go through this a little bit just to show you what is going on with my coat of arms. This is the cross of the Knights Templars right here. And the Cross of the Knights Templars is a allegiance that the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth born son of the aristocracy has now currently with the primogenitor or the inheritor of the land that is originally there for the firstborn son, because the firstborn son of the aristocracy, he gets everything, and the second, third, fourth, fifth born son, they get nothing. See, that's where the Templars come from. It was an allegiance to those people, you know, who, they're obviously, you know, aristocrats do not work, so, you know, they wasn't going to go out and work in the cow crap or anything like that, so back in the days, guys, when all this was invented, there was only three places you went. You were either in the castle, you were in the church, or you were in the cow crap, one of the three. That's how it was in medieval times. There was none of this in-between middle-class stuff like we have these days, guys. There was no middle class in the olden days. Now, let's move on. Right here is the fleur de lis. And the fleur de lis is the lotus of the Nile of Egypt. And it is also, profoundly, the concept of three of Isis, Horus, and Seth of Egypt. Because all aristocracy that you have in these days that we live in, every one of them are all descendants of the pharaohs of Egypt. See, the pharaohs, folks, they're no longer in Egypt. They don't know where they went. And I'm telling you where they went. They're the nobility of the world. And I tell you now, they're not like you. And I tell you now, I'm not like you. Okay? Just saying. And a lot of them are left-handed too. Of which I am left-handed. Okay? So that just gives away even more of it. Now, this is the red shield of the tribe of Judah, of the 12 tribes of Israel. And if you notice this two-tail, you see me talking about the Hegelian dialectic? That two tails is the ability to play the Hegelian dialectic, and that's what separates these people from you guys, folks. This is the reason why they're ruling and they're the minority, and you guys are, I don't mean to tell you this, you guys are cattle to these people, okay? Not to me. I'm just telling you to the rest of the aristocracy, that's what you are to them. And so you also have the blue belt. And this blue belt is a dead giveaway to the Merovingian kings. And it is the blue belt of King Arthur, okay? And the Knights of the Round Table, it was inspired directly by King Edward III. And the reason why that the Atwoods is involved directly in with that in terms of the aristocracy, it was Sir William Atwood, the captain of the guards, that that was directly related in with them. And actually, if you go to Westminster Abbey, you will see a lot of Atwoods that are buried in that place, okay? Now, with that in mind, you're going to ask me, well, Jerry, why is it that you have got Jewish lineage here, and you have also got Egyptian lineage both at the same time? And that's what it is. It's Egypt and it's Jewish, both wrapped into one, guys. And nobody else is going to tell you this stuff, man. I'm trying to tell you guys, I'm one of the few pharaohs that's going to tell you the truth about this stuff, okay? And that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to give you two simple, brief explanations for this. Number one is the fact that the Jews were 410 years prisoner of Pharaoh in Genesis, and they mixed in a whole lot with the genetics of the Egyptians. Okay? A lot of metaphors in the Bible, guys. When Moses went out and and Pharaoh followed him, it was a metaphor. It meant that Pharaoh's genetics followed him. And when that Pharaoh followed him and he disappeared into the sea, it meant that the pharaohs disappeared into the sea of people and are amongst us now, ruling in the aristocracy, okay? Now, another thing here, the second example, is the handmaidens' tale that you have in Genesis. And the handmaidens' tale you have in Genesis is about Rachel, and she gives up her handmaidens to her husband Jacob because she is barren, okay? And when he has the 12 sons of Israel, what it is these girls that were Bella and Leah, they were Egyptian. And when it goes to read on in that story, and it says that Jacob tried to separate the spots that were in the goats and the sheep, and they just kept reappearing even though that he did it when they kept breeding, it was talking about the Jewish blood lineage and the Egyptian blood lineage. It was a metaphor. Check that out in Genesis, guys, and remember what I told you about the metaphor in that, okay? I figured all that out for myself. Nobody's told me any of this stuff. So that's why you've got the pharaonic blood lineage of Egypt, you have the Merovingian kings of the Blue Belt, and you have the red line of the tribe of Judah. So you see that, folks, King David was a pharaoh, but he was also of the Judean tribe, all at the same time. Many people don't understand that, okay? But now you do. Why? Because I told you, okay? So let's move on. And you've got the Atwoods that are the red letter tribe of Judah. And if you notice right here, this is Betty Rhodes' studies. This is the lost tribes of Israel's identity. See that? And you've got the surnames, which we'll look at the surnames here in just a few moments. But you can see all this on the internet. Just go to this. And you can see it all. The red letter shield of the tribes of Judah. Okay, so here we go. Here's the blue belt, folks. And it will explain to you in the blue belt that this was inspired by King Edward III, which is in my coat of arms. You see the blue belt. And it is of King Arthur, the Merovingian kings, and it is also of the Knights of the Round Table. A very old chivalry, guys. This is a very, very old bloodline. And like I tried to tell you, William Atwood, which was a variation of the old term of it, Attewoode at that time, he was captain of the guards for the Merovingian king, King Edward III. Now, you're going to do some research and say, King Edward III wasn't a Merovingian king, Jerry. Yes, he was. Your history books have lied to you people. I'm just telling you straight up, whether you want to believe it or not. Now let's look here, and it'll tell you about the line. And you can pause all this and look at it for yourself. I'm giving it all to you. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to put any descriptions in the box or anything about any of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you the images and stuff with the site at the bottom of it, so you can just go to this stuff and look at it for yourself, guys. And again, I want to remind you, I have went through Ancestry DNA, guys, and all this is true about my blood lineage. They've done identified it, okay? People says, well, this can't be true, Jerry. Yes, it can be, and it is. The red letter genealogy of the line and the tribe of Judah. And you've got the site you can go to right there to read all about it. I don't need to put it in the description. I just went on ahead and showed it to you right on the images. Read all about it, guys, if that's what you want to do. Okay? Now, over here it tells you about Sir William Atwood, the captain of the guards in England. Okay? Tells you all about it. You can go see him. It's a variation. The Atwood is a variation of A-T-W-O-O-D. It's the old chivalric version of it. Okay? You can read it for yourself. Alright, there's a picture of him. And you got a place down here you can read all about it. Captain of the Guards, guys. Sir William Atwood. Okay? There you go. You see that line? What does that look like? It looks like the one in my coat of arms, doesn't it? And what? William Atwood. There you go, guys. You got a site, you can look at it. And this site right here will tell you all about Atwood notables. And some of it is where the Blue Bloods came on to the shores of Virginia. And when they came on to the shores of Virginia, they were actually a lot of landowners that were in Norfolk in the Virginia Beach area and the Chesapeake Bay regions. Nobility, folks, and you can tell by looking at this man right here, he's obvious nobility. You guys don't know what to look for, but look at the nose, man. Look at that brachycephalic skull. We don't have the same skulls you guys have got, guys. The nobility does not. And I'll explain that to you one day. We don't have the same skull that you people have. And I know you've never heard that before, but I'll explain it. Actually, his forehead looks just like mine. My forehead looks exactly like that. My nose is just a little different than his, but that forehead's a dead giveaway, guys. And the forehead is really what matters when it comes down to identifying that, okay? Yeah. But you can read all about it. There it is. And so they moved westward and so forth, and they finally ended up in Coburn, Virginia, where my genealogy is from. It wasn't who I was raised by. I was raised by very fine people, a very fine group of family, the finest that could ever be in the McFadden's. You'll never find ever, guys, a better, finer group of people. And by the way, actually, the McFadden's were noblemen in Ireland. And I didn't know that, and the IN even makes that more profound. So they are even, they're in the nobility spotlight somewhat. And the ENs was more commoners, the INs was the nobility. And guess what? There's only about less than 1% of those that are IN, so tells a whole lot right there. But anyway, you can read right here that we ended up in Coburn, and Joe Atwood, he was a landowner and a supermarket owner. He was a businessman. And he owned a lot of things there, and now his grandson Alan runs the place, J.B. Atwood's son, and I've met them a few times. They seem to be pretty nice people. They do. Alan's actually pretty decent guy. I've talked to him. Pretty cool guy, he really is, and so I don't really know them a whole lot myself personally, but yeah, they're all right people from what I can see. Hard-working people, just like everybody else, guys. Just like everybody else, but they were landowners, okay? And I'll tell you a story that backs this up when we're done. And so here is the genealogy of the surnames of the lost tribes of Israel. And this is all Betty Rhodes' studies, guys. Betty Rhodes is at the top of the line. She is a world-renowned genealogist that has well-defined absolute boundaries when it comes to this stuff. Okay? It's not debatable, folks. These are professionals that does this, okay? So let's take a look here, and as you can see in number 21 over there, there's my last name of my blood lineage in this list. I noticed down below it is Austin too, and kind of reminded me of Brian Austin I went to school with. Yeah, his family's in that category. I don't know what his genealogy would be. I've never took a look at it, but there's the Austin name. So he's in the blood lineage too. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. You probably don't believe this, but I'm just going to come clean with you on this. There is a high percentage of the Blue Ridge Mountains of Southwest Virginia that has the Jewish lost tribes in it. And they just don't even know it yet. None of them does. They don't know who they are. But I'm telling you, we didn't end up in those mountains, guys, because we just were there exploring. A lot of them ended up in those mountains because they were running and hiding. Just like the Scottish and the Irish used to hide from the English, like Longshanks. Telling you a lot of truth, guys. Telling you a lot of truth. And they don't even know who they are. They really do not. And so, Margaret Atwood from Canada. I have a blood lineage to this woman, and she is actually proclaims to be fourth cousins to the Queen, Margaret. Yeah, Margaret does. Queen Elizabeth II. And she is a famous novel writer and just does a lot of different things. I'm going to show you some images over here real quick. But she, you know what they call her? Her nickname is? The Queen of Canada. You can't make it up, man. People knows who she is. And she was Time Magazine's Woman of the Year. See that? The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It's a dystopian nightmare, basically, is what it is. It's end times events, basically. And think about it. The Handmaid's Tale that I told you from Bella and Leah in Genesis, of Rachel, and now here we have the Atwoods that are the lost tribes of Israel, and what? The Handmaid's Tale is being wrote by an Atwood? It all comes together, guys. It all comes together when you think about it. And she's wrote some other novels, as you can see. And I'm just giving you some images. This movie is something else, man. I don't know if any of you all have ever saw it. But if you've never saw it, you might want to hold your heart if you do. Look at that, what a prolific picture, man. Oh, Lord, it's spooky, man. Spooky stuff. This, guys, is what the deal is with me in these days. People wonder why that I've been so different in these days that I've been in. What's going on with Jerry? Why does he see these things? Why does he know these things, folks? It's about this, guys. This is my story. It's about this. And it is. And I didn't even know these things, man, till this stuff started happening, and I wondered why. I just started changing one day, man, and I knew that it was something different with me. And God led me to this, is what he done. And you think Margaret knew that the COVID virus was going to come? There you see it, people. And she wrote that thing before the COVID virus was ever out. And again, I'm giving you full pictures here because instead of putting the links in for all this stuff, you can just look down here and you can just go to the site yourself. You know, there's so many images, I'd just be writing and writing and writing. But there you go again, there's another image. There's another image. Whoa, man. I'm telling you guys, you watch that movie, you better hold your heart, man. It's a nightmare. I'm not kidding. It's end times prophecy and the time that the Antichrist reigns upon the earth. And these handmaidens, they're giving birth to these children of the aristocracy to replenish the earth after a cataclysmic depopulation. which, by the way, is coming, guys. I've been talking about the shot right there. That's the start of it. You can believe it or not, folks, I'm telling you the truth. Don't take that shot. Every video I tell you that. Don't take that shot. I know what it is, okay? There's another one. Yeah. It's just a dystopian nightmare, guys. You can see one of them pregnant right there with the aristocratic baby. See that? There is the Order of the Garter, the 8-pointed star, guys, of the handmaidens' tale. And that just caps it off of everything when it comes down to Margaret. But you see it. Yeah. Very, very prolific, very profound, very dystopian-like tale. And like I said, if you don't have a strong stomach, man, look at that, what an image. It's very, very something, guys. I'm telling you, that movie is it is just something. And I mean, if you knew all that there was to see in it, there's going to be a lot of it go over your head that didn't go over mine. And it's something. I tell you, it is. So if you see it, you better hold your heart. Now, let me tell you this. I think that's the end of it. No, there's one more. I'm going to tell you a little quick story to end this. Actually, 2 stories. Number one, when I lived in Coburn, Virginia, there was a flood back in 1977, and Dita Davis's family was who my family rented off of. And Dita was a very good person, man. One of the best people that I've ever known in my life. I mean, she just did everything she could do to help anybody in the community. And her son was actually Jack Jr., and her husband, obviously, Jack Sr. But Jack Jr., he was I think a landowner. I think that he owned a lot of banks. He owned Joy Manufacturing and a lot of other companies. Very, very successful man. And I really think now that I look back on it, maybe the Davises were aristocrats. Aristocracy. I've not looked into it, but I think they may. And so while Dita was helping my mom and dad out, I stayed with her sister. I can't even remember what her name was, guys. If any of you from Coburn ever sees this, let me know what it is. It was Woody's mother. And Woody's mother was a very enlightened person. And so what happened, she told me when I was a little boy watching me during that flood that I had blue bloods that come over here. And that one day I would know who I was. And she even looked at my head. And she said, "Oh my, yes, you are definitely one of them." I had no idea what she was talking about. And I forgot that, guys. For 40-some years, I forgot what that woman said to me. But she knew exactly what she was talking about. And she was highly intelligent. She was Dita's sister. And I cannot remember what her name is. I wish somebody would tell me. I just can't remember, but it was Woody's mom. Lived right in front of him. Now, something else I want to, that's the woman that was head of these girls, and that was just horrible, man. This woman is just a tyrant. Oh, it's a terrible movie. But anyway, I'm going to go with my last thing. When I was in jail here not too long ago, I had a group of idiotic state psychiatrists that tried to make the argument to a judge, which, by the way, I never got. See my video about the King James Version, why it's the only Bible, and I'll tell you my tale in it. It's in my videos. Tried to end up telling the judge, this man thinks that he's crazy. We think he's crazy because he thinks he's a descendant of the aristocrats. And I just hope that these psychologists, I wish that they would get this video. I do. Because you know what, guys? If you do get this video, I'm going to tell you you're the idiot, and you're the one that's crazy, not me. I mean, anybody, guys, that would look at me with this kind of evidence that I have, and not to mention the fact I went to genealogical studies with my blood, my DNA matches up with the coat of arms, And there's so much evidence of it, it's not even funny, right down to Sir William. I want to tell you psychologists something, man. I'm not the idiot and I'm not crazy. You are. Okay? You're the one who says that just because you run some little firm that has some little psychologist office and you get paid by a third-rate payroll from a state, that you would dare come in there and tell me that I'm not part of the aristocrats when I have all this evidence? You're the one that's stupid, man. You're the one that has no brain in your head, not me. It is idiotic, guys, to sit and argue about DNA ancestry studies, DNA blood from ancestry DNA, first of all, then to argue with Betty Rhodes' studies, then to argue with a coat of arms, then to argue with the total story of it and knowing how you're coming. Then on top of that, there was a very intelligent woman told me this in my own town. And yet some stupid idiot, man, that sits behind a desk that used to party at a fraternity the whole six years he was in college or something, and comes in there and just because he's got a magnificent degree, he's got the degree, and he comes in there, and he tells about all of his big fine things that he did and everything. When these guys talk to me, guys, and they ask me a few questions, you know what they done? They came in there and they wrote my name, address, and telephone number down, asked me who the president was, what county we were in, and what state we were in, and what my birth date was, and they walked out there and said, yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, yeah, I hear you guys. No, you're the one. And you people are part of this whole thing, this new one world order to go in. And don't think that I don't know who you people are. I know who you people are, and I know the secret organizations that you're a part of. So you come in there and you give a tainted opinion of me because you know that I'm awake and I see what you're doing. I see every one of you people. And you sit there and you dare tell me after I've got this kind of evidence that I just am pure crazy about my blood lineage and have no idea what I'm talking about. You're the one who has no idea what you're talking about because you're arguing with something literally that's 2 + 2 = 4 and saying that there's no way that 2 + 2 = 4. That's how stupid that sounds. Okay? Now, I'm not going to say any more about that, but that's just absolutely ridiculous for somebody to say something like that. It's ridiculous. And my good buddy Wayne up in Ocala, Florida, I'm going to send him this because I want him to know this. And I want when he took up for me during this whole big trial that we had supposedly over an aggravated assault that had nothing to it. See my video about the old King James Bible. I have the story that goes in with it. I have a story about the Bible, and then I have the story about me. He sat in and he heard this whole thing that they said, okay? And I just want you to know, Wayne, when you see this, I want you to know just how stupid that I think these psychologists are that was involved in that whole thing, okay? Yeah. Thank you for seeing my video, guys, and this puts this to rest. And if you argue with this, you can be stupid right along with a psychologist, okay?